Good evening, everybody. I see there's already a few of you in the comment section talking about the race. A lot to take into consideration going into the race. Obviously your strategy, but are we going to expect safety cars? Are we going to expect weather? That can obviously change everything. As well as track limits and penalties. Although if you were watching last night, we broadcast a race that had no safety cars, and we were expecting a few, just the one virtual safety car in the early stages and nothing more. Caught a lot of the drivers off guard. Welcome to everyone who's joined so far. Revolution, Ian, Jevon. There's someone else in here, but they haven't spoken yet. We have about 10 minutes to go and then we should be underway. Welcome as well to Spikes. Going to have a few drivers missing tonight, if Discord is to be believed. Should be going in just over 5 minutes. So far, 11 drivers in the field. So ask the comment section. I see there's 5 of you now, so there's someone else that hasn't spoken. But let me know there. What do you guys think? Qualifying, what sort of lap times are we looking at? And then in terms of race strategy, what do you think these guys have in mind? Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to SAFRL Tier 1 on a Monday night. Apologies for no intro. Need to work out a few things with that intro. Sometimes it gets a copyright and sometimes it doesn't. So I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong there. Obviously it is Season 7 Round 3. We are in Canada. We see a Red Bull leaving the pits. Somebody getting out just ahead of him. Going to be a busy racetrack. Fortunately, we don't know anything about the weather, so if anyone in the comments section happens to be a driver or is in contact with the driver, just let us know. Don't want to be shocked when we arrive at the race. Spikes was that Red Bull that left the pits early on. Microstatic. Remember, we saw a car get out just ahead of him. According to Discord, Microstatic forgot he was supposed to be racing today. So it'll be interesting to see how prepared he is for this Montreal layout. Obviously, this is one of several man-made islands. This being the biggest one, it was built for an expo. And then when the expo was over, they needed to do something with it. And they decided, let's build a racetrack. So we have a little bit of weather info here. But remember, this is dynamic. Lots of things can be at play. This may not be accurate, but if it is, it looks like a little bit of rain at the end of Q1 and possibly some rain at the start of the race. If that is the case, if we are having rain at the end of qualifying, then that just means the 18 minutes got a lot shorter. The moment rain starts to fall, you're not going to have any hope of improving your lap time. So everybody out on circuit, everybody of the 15 runners out on circuit, all except for Logic. And as I say that, Logic emerges from the pits. Every single driver out on track. I wonder if this is because they expect rain at the end of the session. Doesn't look too cloudy. There is a fair bit of cloud around, but we have seen it a lot darker than that. Insane. First man over the line. It's a 111.7. This is Spikes. We've got quite a few competitors missing tonight. We've got 5 competitors missing this evening. So a few drivers will be missing their teammate. Now we've got some pretty quick drivers not able to attend this evening. It's always disappointing when the quick guys don't show up, but the benefit of it means the guys that are used to finishing in the midfield are potentially looking at podiums. and maybe even a win. So that Buffelsfontein was an 11.7, then we got an 11.8, which put Top Gun in P2 briefly, but now Big T over the line, 110.4 if I'm seeing that correctly, then France at 11.5, so Big T clears the field by 1.1 seconds. It's looking like Max Verstappen race pace at the moment, second a lap. It's Ferrari in P8, not in P8, he hasn't set a lap time, but he's about to. Goes over the line, and it's a 110.1. We thought the 10.4 was impressive. Now we've got a 10.1, and this early on in the session, a 109 does not seem far away. Got a prediction earlier on before the race for pole position, and it was either a 110. I think it was the prediction was either a high 110 or a low 110, and we're already into the extremely low 110s. So I think we might get a 109 here. Virus in the pits, no lap time. Logic in the pits, no lap time. Spikes on an outlap, so he didn't get a lap time on that first run. This is one of those circuits, can be very punishing on track limits. Can be quite frustrating in qualifying when you go around and around and you can't set that first lap time. Get into panic, think you're going to finish at the rear of the grid. This is microstatic. It's as close as you can to the wall of champions. That wall used to be a lot closer. Microstatic a 10.5, Big T 10.4, but it's Ferrari at the moment, leads the field by 0.3 of a second, 10.1. If you're going to take pole position away from him, well, you're going to probably have to get into the 109s or very close to it. Let's keep our eyes on Spikes. I think he went purple in Sector 1. Then I think he invalidated because that track map was red. So it's Ferrari in the pits, Big T, Microstatic, Buffelsfontein, France, Ace of Pace, the two Haas line of stone, close lap times between the teammates. France 11.5, Ace of Pace 11.6. And will you look at that, Ace of Pace and Pantry Star, P6, P7, identical lap times. That's the second time that's happened in the space of a week, at least in the comms box, that I've seen identical lap times. Got to remember how impressive that is, the chances of that happening. Two drivers, probably with very different internet connections, probably with two very different setups, two different driving styles, and when it all comes together, the lap times are identical. We need a fourth decimal. Logic is finding some pace. He went purple in Sector 2. Keep our eyes on the Alpine. He's still looking for that first lap time. Either he left it late or invalidated a few. See, uses all of the track, not too much. Goes over the line with C. Good enough for pole. It's not a 109, but it's a 10 flat. Now if you want to take pole away, I think you really do need a 109. See Virus. Gonna go over the line. Does he get his first lap? Yes, he does. It's a 13.6. It's good enough for the rear of the field for now. Oh, I haven't seen it. There we go. Now I've just noticed it. Thank you, comment section. Raindrops starting to fall. And if you're Spikes, Jacques or Andre, this is not what you want to see. You have not set a lap time. Raindrops are starting to fall. The chances of improvement have clearly gone. This is its free. Let's go over the line. I think that was a quick lap because he's depleted his battery. He wasn't able to improve. Stays on a 110.1. Logic 110.0. And with 7 minutes remaining in the session, I don't know what we're going to talk about, because I don't think anybody's going to find any time. Unless rain is predicted for the race, then we might see some guys driving around just getting a bit of practice, getting some reference points. You see, these guys don't do as much laps in the wet as they do in the dry. So whenever rain is involved, it can really mix things up. And with a field of 15, you're usually in the midfield. Like I said earlier, you have a very good chance of being on the podium or even getting a win if the rain or maybe a safety car plays right into your hands. Top 3 all in the pits. You can see Jacques going over the grass. Either he's looking for a shortcut to the pits or he just can't make those soft tyres work. Still have a few drivers out on track. A lot of them will be... Oh, Jacques was off circuit. Already got 2 cars retiring. It's Ferrari and Big T. And you can see Ferrari was really close, but he's retired from the session, so he knows he cannot find a better lap time. Track will just get worse. But we've seen those 2 top tier drivers retiring, so maybe not expecting any rain in the race. Otherwise they might have just done a lap or 2. And we are still out there on softs, and you can see he's struggling, trying to get the car turned in. This is not the conditions the softs are made for. And pretty predictably, Pantry Star straight into the pits. Toy going slowly, so anybody out there on soft is having a absolutely horrible time just trying to get the car back in one piece. And you can see everybody just coming into the pits. We just got Toy out on track. I think he's doing exactly that, just trying to get the car back to the pits, and then we're going to have a very quiet last couple of minutes. Anyone wants some practice in the rain? Speaking of practice in the rain, seems like Logic is out on a lap. Wonder if he's having... He's not out on a lap, he's just put on a set of intermediates. He has not yet left the pits. No one has left the pits. And well, that doesn't look like a qualifying session at all. It looks like pre-season testing. There we go. Thank you, Ferrari. Ferrari deciding to give us a little bit of entertainment out on circuit. Everybody else remaining in the pits for now. We do have 2 drivers that have put on a set of intermediates, but they have not left the pits. Jacques has left the pits, and he's left the pits on a set of used softs. How do these conditions look to you? Well, there's your answer. Jacques couldn't get it stopped. Just not going to be able to find a decent lap time on the softs. Better to accept that final spot. Just go out on a set of inters, do a timed lap. But you're not going to be able to do anything decent on the softs at the moment. This is logic. He's using the right tires for the conditions. Obviously this won't be representative. This won't affect the timing sheets. This is just to get a few laps under his belt on the intermediate tire. In the event that we get any weather similar to this in the race, always good to just polish up on a few reference points in the rain. Things like your braking points, things like that. Remember, if it is raining, we've got a Ferrari sideways on the straight. Logic over the line. We have Microstatic out on track, and he's on a set of softs. Now, I can visibly see spray coming off those tires, and clearly it's way too wet for those tires. Not going to be able to bring those tires up to any sort of decent temperature. They're just not going to have grip where you need it most. So Logic's decided to do a few practice laps on the Inter, and Microstatic has said, I'll take it a step further. I'll do a few practice laps in the rain on slicks. Microstatic into the pits, obviously realizing those softs were a terrible idea. Logic into the pits, just got a few laps under his belt. We just have 30 seconds remaining. We have no one else out on track, do we? Yes we do, we've got two drivers out on track. One is Andre, he's on a set of softs, and I'm almost certain we'll see him come into the pits. No we don't, he's going around once more. Still a few seconds on the clock, so he might get over the line. He does, so he's going to get another lap if he wants it. Still got a bit of energy in the battery. The other car on track is Spikes. Currently last of the timed cars. Jacques is last, P15. He wasn't able to get a lap time. Obviously struggled in the early stages. Maybe got an invalidated lap or two on those initial runs, and then when it started raining, it just became even more messy. White returns to the pits as well, and that concludes qualifying. We're saying that he was expecting a 109. The guys didn't have that much time. Maybe if we had a full 18 minutes. Basically we see the times come down as the session goes on, but as everyone was in such a rush to get a lap time in. There we go. Your official results for qualifying. Logic P1, that was a 110 flat. Then just behind him 110.1, it's Ferrari, that's the front row, Alpine and McLaren. Then we've got Big T, Microstatic, France, Fontaine, Ace of Pace, Pantry Star, Mr. Rem and Top Gun, taking up the top 10 positions. With a little bit of work to do, Detoy P11, Andre P12, Virus 13, Spikes 14, and Jacques will start from the rear of the field. That is actually a rule that was changed not so long ago in Formula 1. in the 90s, if you didn't set a lap in qualifying, regardless of your argument, well, you didn't qualify. So therefore, you would not be on the grid. Fortunately, the game lets everyone through without a lap time. Now we await the start of the race. Had a possible prediction of rain at the start of the race. That does not seem to be the case. Sky seems to look clear from this angle at least, but we'll have a better look at it once we're out on circuit. He's expecting a messy turn one, hopefully not just the 15 runners. We've seen a full grid of 20 runners getting through turn one cleanly. So hopefully these 15 can hold things together. And with some of the faster drivers, as I mentioned before, not attending, give some of the drivers further back an opportunity to score big points and maybe even take an unexpected win. It'll come down to maybe the weather, if the weather returns, and maybe safety cars will play a big part in switching this field around. Maybe it won't be about who's fastest. It will be about who's where at the right time. Guys will now just be finishing off on their strategies, selecting their tires, selecting their fuel, and we should be underway shortly. There we go. 5 red lights, they disappear, and the cars get off the line. It's McLaren versus Alpine, Logic versus Ferrari. Ferrari's lost a position. No, he hasn't. He's got it back. Logic is off circuit. He's going to have to give up that position. Ferrari leads the way. Big T P2. Logic falling down the order. Buffelsfontein P3. We've got a caution. Hopefully it's just a caution. Seems like that is the case. Just a caution, and we're back underway. Caution is back. Was that carbon fiber we saw flying around in the background? Hopefully not. Let's have a look at Logic. Where is that car? There it is. There's the Alpine. Does the Alpine have damage? Doesn't seem to be the case. But he fell down that order awfully quickly. Got the 2 Aston Martins at the rear of the field, P14 and 15. It's Ferrari. Leads the way. Big T, P2. They would have been expecting to be wrestling it out with Logic, but Logic currently outside the points. Not the start he would have wanted. Didn't quite see what happened there. Will be interesting to see if there was contact or if he just went off the circuit. But something caused him to lose a lot of momentum. By the time he got going again, found himself outside the points. He's actually just made his way back up into the points. Gets past one of the Haas. And now he's got past Jacques. So Logic on the move. He's in P9. Was at the front. Didn't have a good start. Luckily for him, he's got no damage. He's a little bit angry. We go. Seems like the Red Bull just outbraked himself completely there. Was absolutely nowhere over the chicane. That means Logic picks up another position very quickly, and his next target is the Williams up the road. That's Top Gun. We go back to the battle at the front. Big T. It's Ferrari. 0.6 of a second. It's only lap 2, so DRS is not at play. Big T needs to keep that gap within a second so that he can utilize DRS on the next lap. Actually, on this lap, it's Ferrari goes fastest lap 113.9. It's doing everything to get away from Big T, trying to open that gap beyond DRS, because he knows things are going to become a lot more difficult. Actually, just in a few moments from now. A little further back, Buffelsfontein and the Ferrari. You can see the top two ahead of him. They're just a little out of reach. He's actually just popped into DRS with them now. He'll be hoping that those two cars get into a bit of a battle, into a bit of a scuffle. Make his job a lot easier of catching up. Microstatic, the man who apparently didn't even know he was racing, up in P4, having a fantastic race. De Toy in P5. Top Gun going side by side with Logic. Logic's been coming through the field and continues to come through the field. I think there was contact with the McLaren. McLaren gets spun around. We have a caution. Nothing more than that. And now Top Gun and Logic side by side. Who's it going to be? And the Williams stays in front for now. Shark picks up a 3-second time penalty on lap 4. Don't want to rack those up too quickly. And at such an early stage, that is not a good sign. Multiple penalties and a late safety car destroy anyone's race. It's something you've got to keep in mind. Sometimes looking for that extra tenth can cost you 3 seconds. It's Ferrari, leads the way 0.8 of a second. So Big T still within DRS, but he's actually getting on the wrong side of DRS, getting awfully close to that 1 second mark. Wants to be closer to the gearbox of the McLaren. And Big T is coming under pressure from the Ferrari as well. Further down, Microstatic in P4. He's got a lead over Top Gun, and Top Gun doesn't have much of a lead over Logic. Logic, surely not. Yes, he does. Goes through up into P5. And his next rival will be his own teammate. What a race he's had. Started at the front, fell down to the bottom of the field, and he's already back up into the top 5. Driving the wheels off of that Alpine. It's Ferrari, leads the way. Big T, still there in P2, still hanging on, still in DRS, crucially. Buffelsfontein is just almost falling out of DRS of Big T, also just hanging on to DRS. The moment these three cars fall out of DRS, we'll see them split, we'll see the gaps widen. We need those three to stay in DRS, give us action out on track. Further back, more DRS trains. Shark leads this one. It's the biggest DRS train on the track. Shark leads Mr. M, Spikes and Andre, all very close together. Always the most worrying factor in these DRS trains is everyone gets so close together, and what if the car in front makes a mistake and everyone else hurls off into them? I've seen it happen. I had a race where there was an incredible DRS train of 6 cars that went all the way to lap 18 of 22 in Belgium, and then suddenly someone at the front had an incident, and that caused almost everyone behind him to also have an incident. 3 of those 6 cars went on to finish the race. Buffelsfontein in P3. He'll be seeing these 2 ahead of him. They're just starting to engage. Big T into the lead. It's Ferrari. now finds himself tables turned. Now he's going to be the one with DRS. He's going to be able to come right back at the AlphaTauri so long as he stays within a second. Cannot let Big T disappear up the road. We have the one and only Red Bull of Spikes just inside the points. P9, Detoy, second of the two McLarens. His teammate up in P2, Detoy picking up the extra point in P10. Then the two Aston Martins having a better day than how they started. Remember, they were at the rear of the field. Now they're in P11, P12, so just outside the points, both of those cars. They'll be hoping to continue making those gains, get into the points. Still got all 15 cars that we started with. Lap 7 of 35. It's Ferrari leads. He's got back past Big T. Maybe that will just give him a bit of a shake-up. Needs to get away. Ooh, but that tells another story. That tells another story. We haven't looked at that. That's the first time we've looked at that. We've just brought up the tyre scenario. And it's Ferrari. His drive is even that much more impressive. Now that we know he's on hards. And everyone around him is on the medium. No one going with the soft. Only mediums and hards at the start of the race. Some drivers have already made a pit stop. That's obviously damage related. It's Ferrari. Big T still close together. These two have been close together for a majority of the race. Fontaine P3. He's now lost contact with those top two. Well outside DRS. But as these two battle, there's always the hope that Fontaine can come back into it. Microstatic leads his teammate, but that gap quite a large one, 6.5 seconds. Then down in P6, Mr. M. And he's followed closely by a Williams and a Ferrari. That's Top Gun and Jacques, P7 and 8. Spike's also at the rear of that DRS train. He's in P9. And Detoy has got the final point. But it's not a comfortable point. He's defending very hard, defending that 10th place. It's Ferrari leads the way on the hard tyre. Remember, he's going to be able to go later into the race than his next three opponents. That's Big T right behind him. Fontaine, that's starting to lose touch, and then Microstatic a whole 4.5 seconds away from the top three. It's Ferrari. 0.8 of a second, almost breaking DRS. This is Mr. M in P6. He'll be looking in his mirrors because he's got a DRS train behind him. Probably one of the most frustrating places to be, stuck in a DRS train. So if you're the leader of that DRS train, you've got two big disadvantages. You're the only one in the battle without DRS. And the other one is, depending on how long that DRS train's been going on, you've probably got some annoyed drivers behind you. 0.5 of a second, the gap at the front. There is Fontaine. He's not out of it. Just 1.5 seconds of drift from the leaders. You can still see them clearly up the road. And it's still close enough. But if they were to make a mistake, it could make a serious impact. Two Alpines appear to be together on the timing screen. They are pretty far apart, 6 seconds between them. That's P4 and 5. And then the second Ferrari of Jacques, who had a very difficult qualifying session. He's having a pretty fantastic race. He's gone from P15, obviously started last without setting a lap time. And he's gone all the way up to P6 on a set of mediums. The same set of mediums he started with. Andre picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that's a track limits violation. So 3 seconds. We now have Andre, Top Gun and Jacques with 3 seconds apiece. It's Ferrari, still in P1, Big T, P2. Fontaine just starting to come back. That gap was going up to 1.8 seconds. It's now 1.4. Briefly it was 1.3. Wants to get involved in that battle, wants to get involved with the top two, but he's just not close enough. Big T, that's a big one. That's a big one. That's the man in P2. He's just picked up a penalty, and that means he can effectively add 3 seconds to anything he sees on his timing screen. So even though Fontaine is 1.5 seconds behind him on your timing screens, in theory he's 1.5 seconds ahead of Big T and in second place. So Big T needs to be very careful to the end of the race not to stack up anymore. 3 can hurt you, 6 can hurt you even more. Do not want to start racking these things up, and we're not even at halfway distance. Mr. Rem in P7. He's approaching the back of a Ferrari. That is the Ferrari of Jacques. It's within DRS. How close is he? That answers the question. Not close enough. He does get DRS. Not using any battery at the moment, so obviously trying to charge things up. Speaking of no battery, Jacques comes into the pits. The Rem carries on. Fontaine coming out of the pits, so that's going to be a very busy Ferrari pit crew. They're finished with the one car and get ready for the next. 2 Alpines now, P3, P4. That gap at one stage, 6.5 seconds between the teammates, now 5.1, so Logic is still making up ground, but remember he's on a set of hard tyres. His teammate up the road from him on a set of mediums. It's pretty impressive that Logic was able to come through the field the way he did, considering he was on the slower compound. This is his teammate, 5 seconds up the road. And Big T, and it's Ferrari, still very close together. Further back, 2 Aston Martins scrapping it out for P13, Andre and Virus. Don't think we'll see too much battling between these 2 cars. Their main focus needs to be to get up the road. Can't waste any time fighting each other when they're both out of the points. Cars need to help each other get up the road. We've got a retirement, that's Ace of Pace. We're down to the 14 runners. Go check at the battle at the front. It's Ferrari, Big T. And the only sad thing is, this looks like a great battle, but Big T, on paper, 3.5 seconds behind your leader. Fontaine has come into the pits. He's got rid of the hard tyre. It's actually come out in P4. Logic promoted up into P3. Remember, he's on the harder compound, so he's going to go later on into this race. Same as it's Ferrari. That would be the man he thought he'd be racing. due to an incident at turn 1 caused him to have a very bad race start. It's been a fantastic recovery drive. It's back up into P2. But by the time he got to P2, it's free. It's 12.5 seconds up the road. See, we've actually got a few people watching now. In the comment section, let me know who's your top 3. Who's your top 3 finishers? What do you guys think? And who's your driver of the day? The game will give us a driver of the day, but let's have a driver of the day from the comment section. It's Ferrari, still in front, and that's a formidable lead. Remember, he has not pit. He is on the hard tyre. He's going to go a little further than everybody else. Stays out for another lap. We were actually looking at Logic, but Logic also on the hard tyre, stays out for another lap. So those two top 2, 15 laps on the hards. Obviously on the same strategy, because it's Ferrari started on that front row. He expected to be racing its Ferrari. 12 seconds adrift. They've been talking about glitches in the lobby. We have seen a few. When I see a car jumping around, I don't comment on it too much. Don't want to ruin the viewer's experience. If I see a car jumping around, I simply move on to another, and hopefully we find a stable one. Worst part is when you get a really good battle and one of the cars is just going absolutely insane on your screen. Logic in P3. Big T in P2 on a fresh set of softs. And you know he's only 11.5 seconds behind. It's Ferrari. How much time do you lose in the pits around Canada? I've got to say between 20 and 23 seconds. Coming in, stopping, getting back out. And with just a 10-second lead, I think it's Ferrari has lost out to Big T in a big way. Unless, you know, there's still a lot of time in this race. I think Big T might be on a 2 pit stop strategy. Do you guys agree in the comment section? Is Big T on a 2 stop? What's happening here? Who's doing what? You guys tell me. You do more practice than I do. You spend more time on the track than I do. Some of you are tier 2 drivers, which means you will be practicing for this track. Going to be doing this track in a few days. So let me know what would your strategy be around here? A 1 stop, a 2 stop, what's the plan? Big T sets the fastest lap. Obviously he is on a set of soft tires. He's having a great time until those softs fall off. The car is going to feel invincible. Jacques picks up a 3-second penalty, and I think that is his second, so he'll be up to 6. There we go, confirmation. Jacques on 6. Then 3-second penalties for Big T, Top Gun, Andre and Detoy. And then Mr. M has also picked up a 5-second penalty, so that is a pit related penalty, not a track limits penalty. He can serve that at his next pit stop, or it will be added on at the end of the race. Logic in P3, yet to pit, 17 lap old hards. It's Ferrari, 17 lap old hards. He's out front. That gap now 7.8 seconds. So Big T is closing in, and he's closing in quickly. But I think these two cars are in very different strategies. It's going to be so interesting to see what happens in the next stint of this race. SAFRL still out front. Big T still P2, 6.8 seconds. Where can we find a battle here on track? Was that a... I thought we saw a stationary car there for a second. Pantry Star in P8. Got a whole bunch of cars now switching around. Too difficult to read the timing sheets. Whole bunch of cars coming into the pits. Now look at that gap at the front. Just 6.4 seconds. It's SAFRL leads on aging hards. Big T out there on fiery fresh softs. Two cars on very different strategies. Two very quick drivers. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. Both obviously having different ideas about the race. One starting on the hard, one starting on the medium. Then getting off the medium, you'd expect him to get on the hard, but he's got on the soft. He's having a blistering drive. It's 5.3 seconds off the leader. And if it's SAFRL is on a one stop, what we might see is by the time he goes for that pit stop, Big T has caught him and joins him for that pit stop. Buffelsfontein, he's on the medium. He's in P3. Logic 19 laps on those hards. Remember, he's been at the front of the field, then almost at the rear of the field. He's had quite the drive to get back to the top, but I think by the time he got to the top, those aging hards weren't feeling that great. There we go. There's the first one. If you've got the first one, look at the top left of your screen. You're going to see a whole bunch of cars coming into the pits. We have our first safety car of the evening. This will obviously shake things up in the race. It's SAFRL, Big T, everything was forming. Look at that, we didn't see it, there's raindrops falling. The only reason I saw it was I looked at the screen and I saw the inters. How did I not see the raindrops? No one in the comment section mentioned it either. But the rain, not only are the raindrops falling, this track is in a bad way. Everybody coming in, getting a set of intermediates, and if you look at that, the front three runners, they have not gone in and got a set of intermediates. So they're going to have to come in, they're going to have to come out at the rear of the field. That's it for SAFRL on a set of hards, Big T on a set of softs, and France on a set of mediums. All three of those cars are going to have to come into the pits. Luckily for them, they do have quite a lead. At least Big T and SAFRL had quite a lead, so they're going to be able to go in and come back out in P1, P2. But France is most definitely not going to be able to hold on to that P3. He comes into the pits now as the field is starting to compress. So that means he's going to fall down the order quite harshly. This does now. So it brings you more into a sprint situation. By the time the safety car is over, we will have something like, probably like an 11 lap race. And if the weather does stay like this to the end, it's just going to be a sprint on intermediates. With just a little bit of time remaining, you're not going to have to worry about tire management. It's just going to be about getting that car to the end. Another thing about the rain that doesn't get mentioned enough is that if you're the driver in front and you're trying to defend, the rain makes it so much easier to defend because it takes away the threat of DRS. The only way the driver can get past you, if you're online and consistent, time and time again, the only way the driver can get past you is with battery. And once that battery runs out, he's just unable to come back at him. It's Free, Big T, Buffelsfontein, Logic, Microstatic, France, Mr. Rem, Pantry Star, Top Gun, Jacques de Toy, Virus, Andre, that is your order. We have lost Spikes, we have lost Ace of Pace. We are under a safety car. And when we get underway, it's going to be a straight sprint to the end. Hopefully a straight sprint to the end. We could have a situation where rain got worse and we had to switch to the blue tyres. But I think I might be asking for a little too much. Safety car remains out. We still have a few cars adrift at the rear of the field. See if the safety car waits for everybody. Still got a long way to go in this lap, so hopefully those cars will be able to catch up. That last car going through the middle of sector 3, the safety car going through the middle of sector 2 on the next lap, so we might just get another lap of safety car. We've also seen examples of the safety car not waiting for the queue, and those cars get left behind. It's Free. He's going to have the pressure on his shoulders of getting this restart done when the safety car pulls off into the distance. The queue is almost together. We might get a very late notification. We'll find out shortly. No, we don't. Surely not. We go around for another lap. Why I said 11. Yeah, I think we'll have what is that, an 11 lap race? 10 lap race? Looks like a 10 lap race to the end. And that is an interesting one. Is anyone else seeing that? Jacques making the interesting choice. He's gone on a set of wets. Now I wonder if that was a mistake. Selecting the tyres in the menu, he made a mistake. Or if he just feels the track is a little wetter than everyone else does. If that is the case, we'll see Jacques fly up the order. If that's not the case, well, he'll fall to the bottom of it. Crucially for Jacques, he's just outside the points in P11, so if that tyre choice does work for him, he'll most certainly get points. If it doesn't, he most certainly won't. Interesting risk to take when you're on the verge of points in P11. I think that is the safety car disappearing into the distance. There we go, you can see it on the track map clearly now. Safety car driving away. It means it's Free. Takes the responsibility of the safety car. He will now do what he wants really. He can back up the field. He can let it go through the final corner. He can let it all go just before the start finish line. He decides when to go. It's up to everybody else to stay awake. And it's up to everybody else not to pull a Lance Stroll. And there happens to be well, technically an RB in P2. So hopefully Buffelsfontein watches this place. Buffelsfontein's not too worried about Big T, he's worried about Logic. Logic fighting for that position, wants to get into the top 3. A place he hasn't been since the opening stages of the race. Place he belongs. Such a fast driver, such a recovery drive. Safety car definitely helped, but Logic up into P3. Just a second away from Big T. Remember, Big T, one of the quick drivers here, one of the drivers in contention, it appears, for a victory. He's got that 3-second time penalty, so the only way he's going to win the race is he needs to pass SAFRL and then build up a gap no less than 3 seconds. SAFRL still out there in front, Big T P2, Logic P3, everyone's sort of holding station. We had a bit of action for P3 when Logic passed Buffelsfontein. Now cars just starting to stabilize. Something you see in the wet, sometimes it looks like the gaps are so close together, but the overtakes just aren't happening. It's just because drivers are a little bit more careful, don't have that same brake late confidence. Everyone's braking a little bit earlier, everyone's a little bit more tentative, and sometimes it just means the overtakes really slow down to a lull. Now I'm trying to keep my eyes on Jacques, because remember, he's on the wets and he actually looked like he was making up a bit of ground. Then he lost some time, involved with the Aston Martins. He's fighting the toy for P10, and the fact that he can fight on those wets means that the track is at a pretty in the middle. Is it working for wets and inters? It doesn't seem like Jacques losing any time on the wets. Or is he? Car just going left and right. Maybe I was mistaken. Jacques now falling down into P12. So maybe that was a gamble that did not go his way. As for SAFRL, well, the rain has been the best thing. He's up at the front, 2 seconds is the gap. Big T can't do anything about it. Remember, he's got a penalty, but now Logic clears Big T. The Alpine gets ahead of the AlphaTauri. Logic will have a clear track ahead of him, less spray, and he'll be able to get on with his job of closing a 2.2 second gap. As things stand, SAFRL seems to have everything under control in the wet. We do have a caution. Quick look to the track map, don't see any cars stationary, and we're back underway. Big T loses that position. He's down into P3 with that penalty. Remember, that means he would lose P3, P4, P5, and possibly even P6. SAFRL, Logic, Big T, France, Buffelsfontein, microstatic, lots of cars close together on track, but lots of spray, wet conditions. Everyone wants to get these cars home in the points. Making a mistake at this late stage will really hurt you. And not only do you not get points, you could be giving competitors points. France trading places now with Big T. Big T's got that penalty. The further down the field he falls, the more that penalty's going to hurt him. He needed to be at the front with a 3-second gap to win this race. But SAFRL did not let that happen. He opened up a 2.5 second gap. Then Logic got past Big T. Thought he'd be able to close the gap. Hasn't been able to close the gap. That gap 2.2 seconds and has remained stable for the past few laps. Big T has fallen off the back of Logic, and he's defending from France. France, with that penalty, will be on the podium. He'll know that, but he wants to make the pass on track. And there's nothing better than passing your opponent in the wet. Let's have a look at that horse on the back of Big T, but not quite close enough. And remember, in the rain, you don't have that extra use of DRS. That boost down the straight. We've got a safety car, and how late is this? How late is this? Looking at the track, is there a stationary car on the track? I don't see a stationary car on the track. I don't think we've had a DNF. Don't see anyone falling down the order. Maybe somebody just spending a bit of time off circuit. Trigger the safety car. What does this mean? What does this mean for the field? Does everybody stay out? Keep their track position? Does everybody dive into the pits? Get a fresh set of intermediates to go to the end? It's a decision you need to make before the end of the lap. All of these drivers will have the entire of Sector 3 to think about what are they going to do. I think we might just see the safer option. Cars stay out, hold on to track position. There's no reason why those inters should not get to the end of the race. Will a new set of inters, will the advantage be worth it? I'm almost certain we'll see the cars go around. Or will we? Yes, we do. It's free, stays out. As does Logic. I think everybody's going to follow suit. Nobody using this safety car for a pit stop unless they have damage. Everybody just holding on to track position. New set of inters wasn't going to make much of a difference. We weren't going to be able to fly through the field. Not in these conditions. One thing good about the safety car, so it gives everybody an opportunity to charge up their battery. And if you did not underfuel, well, we've had 3 safety cars and we've had rain, so I presume you've got a very heavy car right now. It's Ferrari out front. He's going to have to do what he did not so long ago. Going to have to restart this race, but this time the stakes look even higher. Just a few laps to go. We spoke about a 10-lap race at the end. Safety car has come out, broken our prediction, and now we won't be getting that 10-lap race. We'll be getting what's looking like less than a 5-lap race. Still have a Ferrari and an Aston Martin trailing pretty far behind, so we're going to get another lap behind the safety car. Obviously, this is Montreal, track name Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, named after quite an amazing F1 driver, and an F1 driver that never got to win a Formula 1 world title. Once he got his competitive car, once he got his Ferrari, unfortunately everything was cut short by a terrible accident. Obviously the Villeneuves did land up winning a championship. Gilles Villeneuve drove in Formula 1, as did his brother. Those two drivers were unable to win world championships. But Jacques Villeneuve in 1997, he won a world championship for Canada. As for other Canadian drivers, well, we have the greats like Latifi and Stroll. Sorry, I think I've mentioned Stroll like 5 times in this broadcast. I just can't get over what I saw. And if you can find the broadcast, Danny Rick was having a very calm interview, and then somebody came over and whispered in his ear what I presume is he's blaming you. And he dropped an F-bomb live on air. So Danny Rick definitely not impressed at the Canadian. Definitely not pulling his weight in that team. When compared to his 42-year-old teammate who just signed a new 2-year contract, means he'll be racing at least till the age of 44. And recently, when asked in an interview whether he thought at the end of the contract extension if that would be it for Formula One, Fernando Alonso simply smiled and said, maybe. Racing driver continuing beyond the age of 44, I think that would be something quite miraculous. Although, if he were to win a race right now, he would not have the record for oldest race winner in Formula One. That goes to, I think that was in 1952. I think it was in the 3rd year of F1, and the driver was 52 years old. That is the record for the oldest F1 driver who won a race. He won a race at 52 years old. So according to that record, Fernando Alonso still very much a spring chicken. Safety car pulls off into the distance for the final time in this race, and it will definitely be the final time in this race because it looks like we only have 3 laps to go. It's going to be a short sprint to the end on aging intermediates, but remember these intermediates, they'll have 10 laps, 11 laps behind them, but they'll be a lot fresher than that. Some of these laps were done behind the safety car, so there'll be no strain on those tyres. They'll go to the end quite easily. Ooh, and we've got an Alpine, and it's Logic. Logic just getting on the power a little bit too early, a little bit too greedy on the throttle, wanted to stay with its Ferrari, knew he had a chance of winning this race, and he just lost it on the exit. Car got all out of shape. He wasn't able to hold on to it, and hopefully for the Alpine driver he didn't pick up any damage, otherwise we might see him fall down the order. Another problem for Big T is that that safety car would have closed the field up. Means he might lose even more positions due to that penalty. Everyone else with a penalty right at the rear of the field. It's Ferrari. Things looking comfortable. 1.8 seconds. France P2 in the Haas. Big T P3. And he's actually got quite the gap now. Logic in P4, but he's 2.2 seconds adrift. So if Big T can open that gap up above 3 seconds and keep it there, he may be able to hold on to his podium position. But if Logic is just able to maintain this gap at 2.2 seconds, it means he'll still be able to steal a podium spot from a race that has had a lot of ups and downs. Been quite the race for its Ferrari. Probably thought he was going to have his hands full with Logic, but Logic fell away right at the start of the race. Had quite the race to come back into it. Then the safety car looked like it had played right into his hands. And then we saw him on the exit, just losing the back end. Had to get the car back under control, and by the time he did that, a few cars had made their way past. Logic has closed that gap to 1.4 seconds. So as things stand, Logic will take that podium position away from Big T. It's so painful to lose a position because of a penalty, especially if that position is a podium. I imagine it's even worse if that position is a win. I don't speak from experience, I only have 2 race wins. One in Portugal and one in France, and both those races were freak days. It's Ferrari out front, 9/10 of a second, so France has been able to come back. It's Ferrari. I wonder if this is just France showing superior pace at the end of the race, or if it's Ferrari made some sort of a mistake, just lost a bit of time. He's 8/10 of a second away. It's Ferrari, surely it's enough. 6/10, getting really close. If we were in the dry, I think he'd be at risk, but in the wet, I think it's going to be a lot more difficult. In the dry, we might have seen a really late lunge into that final chicane, but in the wet, I don't think France is going to be doing that. It's not close enough. Can hardly see it's Ferrari through the spray. Can't even see where his opponent is. There we go, line astern, lap 35 off 35, that will be the checkered flag. It's Ferrari over the line, France over the line in P2, just 6/10 of a second down the road. Then Big T P3, does he hold on to it? No, he doesn't. Logic goes up into P3. Big T loses a position due to that penalty. And on the positive side, he just lost 1 position due to the penalty. It could have been much worse. There we go, we've come to the end of round 3 here in Canada. What a race it was. It gave us a bit of everything. It gave us a bit of rain, gave us a bit of drama. There are your official results. It's Ferrari taking the victory, and he had to go through many different sorts of conditions to get there, but he did it at the end. 25 points. France P2 had a strong finish to the race, started in P5. Logic P3 after a real mix of a race, I think he can be happy with that, started in P1, finished in P3. Then Big T P4, he lost a position due to a penalty. He actually had the fastest lap, so gets the extra point. Buffelsfontein P5, Pantry Star P6, Mr. M P7, Virus P8, Top Gun P9, and Microstatic making up the top 10. Just wanted to get confirmation outside the top 10. We have Jacques, finished in P11. The rest of the drivers in the DNF column. That's Andre, Detoy, Spikes, and Ace of Pace. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight, joining the channel. Obviously we have nothing coming up on a Tuesday night, but we will be back on Wednesday. We're going to do this track all over again. Wonder if it's going to be dramatic as it was this evening. We'll find out on Wednesday night. Obviously back with DRS on Thursday, and then SKR on Sunday. I hope to see you then. I've also been uploading a few videos to the channel, not league related, but just a few F1 videos, some overtakes, some crashes. So if you have some time on your hands, stay around the channel, have a look around, and if you see something you like, leave a like, and if you haven't subscribed, that would be fantastic. Until next time, see you then, and cheers.